For decades, there's been this dangerous game playing out in the shadows of the Middle East. It's been a silent, undeclared war, but one with truly global stakes. Today, we're going to pull back that curtain, just as the conflict itself steps out from the darkness and into the light. Think about it. This was a conflict that was defined by whispers and, plausible deniability. It wasn't fought on traditional battlefields. No, this was a war fought through proxies, through devastating cyber attacks and covert operations. Just this constant, low-level hum of hostility, right beneath the surface of what most of us see every day. So the methods were totally clandestine, and the targets were incredibly precise. We're talking scientists, computer systems, even cargo ships. Each side was landing these blows without ever openly saying, "We're in a fight." It was a strategy, right? Designed to get what they want while avoiding a full-scale, absolutely catastrophic war. But yeah, that era, it's over. Gone. Recent events have just completely shattered the unspoken rules of this shadow war. Now we're seeing direct state-on-state attacks replacing those covert strikes. The fight has moved from the darkness into the stark, bright light of day for the entire world to see. So, you've got to be asking, right? How did we get here? What on earth pushed this long simmering conflict to the absolute edge of all-out war? Well, to figure that out, we have to really understand the history, the ideology, and the frankly terrifying stakes of whatever comes next. All right, let's start right where we are now, this moment of escalation. You have to understand, this isn't just some sudden crisis that came out of nowhere. No, this is the culmination of decades of tension finally reaching a boiling point. And there's a really deep tragedy in all of this. This very region, the cradle of civilization, it gave the world writing, law, astronomy, so much. And yet now it's standing on a precipice, threatening to become the stage for a war that could completely reshape the entire global order. So to really get to the heart of the why, we have to look at the powerful ideologies that are driving this whole thing. And the Iranian regime's intense focus on its external enemies, well, it's come at a staggering cost back home, creating a massive crisis within its own borders. We're talking about Iran here. This is the heir to the ancient Persian Empire. It's a land of incredible art, poetry, and amazing scientific achievements. A deep, influential culture that has given so much to the world. But for decades, all that rich potential has been funneled into one thing: confrontation. And the cost for its own people has been immense. Sanctions and isolation have basically hollowed out the economy. The nation's best and brightest minds have left in droves. And a nation's treasure has been poured into military programs instead of its own people. But look, this internal struggle is only part of the story. The other part, the one that keeps world leaders awake at night, is the external threat, the race for the atom. You might think that an Iranian bomb is the finish line, right? The final piece of the puzzle. But that is a really dangerous miscalculation. It wouldn't be an endpoint at all. It would be a trigger. It would be the beginning of something so much more terrifying, a frantic regional nuclear arms race. The single act of one nation getting that nuclear capability would almost certainly set off an unstoppable chain reaction. And you can just see the dominoes lined up, ready to fall. Saudi Arabia has already gone on record saying it would go for a bomb if Iran gets one. And from there, other powers in the region, like Jordan and the UAE, they'd feel this immense pressure to do the same thing. Not necessarily out of aggression, but just to guarantee their own survival. So here's the question we all have to ask. What happens to the world economy, to global stability, when the very region that powers our industries is suddenly littered with nuclear tripwires? The consequences are almost too catastrophic to even think about. Look, beyond all the geopolitics, the sanctions, the missiles, there is a fundamental truth we just can't ignore: the human cost. At the end of the day, this is about people. This right here is what gets lost in the headlines, this shared humanity, that universal fear of a parent for their child. On both sides of this divide, you have ordinary people caught under the shadow of this conflict, just praying for a peace their leaders seem unable to deliver. It's such a simple, undeniable truth, but it gets lost in all the strategy and politics. There's no victory to be found in flattened cities or shattered economies. The only outcome is a generation that's raised on fear and loss. Because in the end, that's all that's left, right? Survivors. People who are tasked with rebuilding from the ashes. The scars of a conflict like this wouldn't just mark the land, they would mark the minds and souls of generations to come. And all of that brings us right back to now, to today. This final chapter, well, it hasn't been written yet. The whole world is watching, holding its breath as we stand at this critical crossroads. Two paths lie ahead. On one side, you have diplomacy, the difficult, frustrating, but absolutely essential work of finding a way out of this. But is that path even still open? And on the other side, you have the shadow of conflict, looming larger every day, a destination that feels more and more inevitable. Is that where we're headed? This is the ultimate question, isn't it? It's a test of leadership, of restraint, of our collective ability as human beings to choose wisdom over destruction, because the greatest power isn't found in splitting an atom, but in having the will to prevent it from ever being used. The choices made in the coming days and weeks are going to echo for decades. The stakes have never, ever been higher. And we have to remember, right now, history is watching.